Good afternoon, happy stampers, and welcome to my happy stamping studio. My name is Judy Anderson from judystamps.com, and this is where stamps tell a story, and we love to share joy through our projects. So today we are going to be using some simple, minimal items to create three fun cards. They're an assortment of cards, and several of you are wanting to make some cards that are quick and easy on the go cards. So I have chosen the Storybook Friends, and I should have opened this up. That is found on pages 23 through 27 of our mini catalog, or actually 28 of our mini catalog. These products are so much fun. They cover a variety of occasions, and I can see doing some 3D items for the holidays. And today we're just going to be using the stamp set. However, I do encourage you to get at least the bundle because these dies cut out all these images here and have some wonderful frames in them. And then the designer series paper is another choice that you could choose today. Instead of the Storybook Friends stamp set, you could get the Storybook Moments 12 by 12 specialty paper. You could have a variety of papers to embellish your cards, and then they have 2 sheets of die cut designs, which you can punch out. And I'll show you those right here. So they have all these characters that all you have to do is punch out and put them on a card. So no stamping, very quick. Another idea I have been giving my in-person clients is how cute would these be to make those little egg holders? When I was growing up, I remember my mom would get these die kits, and in the die kits, they would have these strips of paper that had a punch out of different images. And they'd make a little cup, and then your egg would sit inside that. And I thought, well, you know what? You could just take some strips of your cardstock. You could do a variety of colors or white and just glue these on and put your eggs in there. And I think that this year, most of us are going to be using plastic eggs with the price of eggs and that. So that is an idea. I also wanted to share with you that we have 2 new kits that were released today and our online exclusives. Now we have a couple sweet collections in the online exclusives, the Botanical Texture Suite and the Lovely Garden Suite. And then we have on the go collections, which you can purchase, and everything is in there and you're just ready to go. All you have to do is add some card bases, or you could even get the suitcase treat boxes, which are really cute, and make some little treats with those. Then we have several bundles that have come out, and then we have more bundles on this page, and not only dies, but we do have some new punches that came out, and then some stamp sets. If you are looking to create some fun stamp sets for your possible scrapbook pages for your children or grandchildren or neighbors' kids or nieces and nephews, the school day stamp set is really adorable. And I love the She's the Greatest stamp set. It's all about girls. And then we do have some Remember This Moment, Memories and More in our memory keeping also. Now, if you would like a copy of this handout, just shoot me an email, let me know, make a comment here, and let me know there also. So let's get started. I think I've wasted enough time explaining all this stuff. So the Storybook Friends, like I said, we are going to make these quick. So I have got our note cards on envelopes. These come pre-cut, pre-scored with matching envelopes. And our first 2 cards are going to be basically using just the note card. I I wanted to share some simple designs that you could make with these. So we're going to start out just burnishing that score line so this lays flat. I am using StazOn Ink. Now, I usually tell you not to use StazOn Ink with your photopolymer stamp sets. However, you can use StazOn Ink, but you need to clean them immediately. And don't use StazOn cleaner for that because it will ruin your photopolymer stamps. You want to use our Stamp and Mist cleaner. Oh, I am so sorry. Must be our mail lady. Oh, and all you do is I've got our Stamp and Scrub pad. So all I'm going to do is put some of this in here, and you will see me cleaning these immediately after we stamp these today. Okay, we're going to start out with our bunny first. And like I said, these are going to be quick, simple cards. We're going to ink it up. I want to get my silicone mat so I have a little bit of cushioning underneath this. And I'm just going to place this in the center of our card. Okay, just like this. Stamp it, get a good image. And that was not such a good image, so I am going to redo this on the other side. I will show you how I'm going to fix that. I'm going to ink this up really good. I did re-ink my pads. However, it seems that my StazOn is not staying inked up for some reason. You have to remember that StazOn ink is a solvent ink pad, so you want to keep it covered. And you want to turn it upside down so that ink stays towards the top. I'm going to lift this up slowly. There we go. Much better image. And then to clean it, I'm going to really scrub it here because you don't want any black ink left on there. So you want to really scrub it and then dry it. Okay, and make sure that black ink is off of there. Okay, so next I'm going to take my Pool Party ink, and what you want to do is you want to press the lid to the bottom, just like that, and you'll get ink in here. Then we're going to use our blending pen. And for this one, I'm not coloring the image a whole lot. I'm going to color around the outside. Now, I want to make an area where I can brush this off a little bit. And I do want to practice or see how dark that is on a scrap piece of paper. And I thought I had some here. I can use just the corner of this. And I just want to see how dark that's going to come out right away. Okay, so I test it on a scrap paper. I like the way they came out, so I'm going to primarily stay in this open area because I want this light. We are going to go around the outside of our bunny for this. I'm going to wipe a little bit off on there. So I just want a real light shadow around my bunny. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more ink, and there looks like there's not any ink there, but believe me, there is. So I'm going to start up here so I go into where I stopped. And this is just going to make a light shadow around your image. And what that's going to do is that's going to make that image pop out of the paper. Okay, let's go around here. And the reason why we are using the StazOn ink is because it's a permanent ink, and we're using a water-based ink pad to color. We don't want that black to smear onto into our color. So just take a little bit of that and just very lightly go around. Pick up a little bit more, and like I said, I may pick up just a little bit of color and bring that in. And I'm going to start down here just in case that's a little bit dark. It's not. I'm going to pick up more color because my color is fading. Wipe a little bit off. It just seems that wiping that little bit off onto your silicone mat or your glass plate gets off that dark image. Now, See how that is popping out? And it's standing out on your card. So we're done with that. And like I said, we're coloring very little on this guy. We're going to take our Coastal Cabana. Now I do want a little bit more ink here. So I'm going to pick up my Coastal Cabana. You could use any color you wanted. And I'm going to go to the inside and bottom of my bow and wipe a little bit of that off. And then I want to color the rest of the bow and the inside there. So that's just a very little bit of color. So next I am going to grab, I need my mat here, and I'm going to wipe all that color off, okay, because I'm going to go into another color, and that is the Pretty in Pink. I just want to put a little bit of pink on his nose and in his ears. So I'm actually going to wipe this because it looks like I have some other color in there. Okay, so I'm going to pick up that pink and make a clear area there. Wipe this off. That's pretty light, so it looks good. So I want to start at the bottom because that's where I want the darker color to be. I'm going to go in here and do my darker and then bring it up for the lighter pink. I'm going to do a little bit on his nose right here and a little bit on his cheeks. I need a little bit more for those cheeks. Just right here and just like that. Okay, that's all the coloring we're going to do on this one. Now we could do some splattering on here if you wanted, if you had the Stampin' Right markers. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. Oh, I know that's the male person out there. And I'm going to grab my Coastal Cabana again, and I'm going to put the words. And the words are just going to be, thank you so very much. Got somebody knocking at my door. So thank you so very much. I did get a little bit of ink here. So let's see what we have in that stamp set that we can cover that opportunity up with. So I am going to actually grab our little, knock it off, dogs. We have a stone hedge. I'm just going to grab it. I'm just going to do a little bit of a stone hedge on each side. So we're just going to take this, and I'm not going to grab any more ink pads than what I'm using in all my cards. I'm using a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ink colors for my cards today. So normally I wouldn't have to do this, except I got a little bit of pink on here. So I'm just going to move this right here on that side. And as you can see, it's just going to add a little bit of fun to this card. Okay, and I'm not coloring it. I'm just leaving it as is. So that's our first card. Not too intimidating, is it? We're going to go ahead and do our second card. And our second card is very similar, but we're going to do a little bit more coloring on our second card. So let's grab our card base right here, fold it on that score line, and you're going to find that these note cards and envelopes are a thicker cardstock than our basic white. I don't know if it's quite the same as our thick cardstock. Okay, clean that off there. So next I'm going to have this little chipmunk, and it's just going to say hello friend on there. I'm going to stamp it all at one time. So this time our words and our image are all going to be the same color. Put that on there, press, and lift it up. And you want to lift slowly because, as you can see with this ink, it does have a reaction with your photopolymer stamps. I recommend, if you're making a couple of cards with the same stamps that you would wash and dry, and let your stamp set just a little bit so that it doesn't gum that stamp up. Okay, I'm going to wash my fingers off. I got a little bit of ink on there. So like with this one, we're going to color the image a little bit more. I'm using my crumb cake. I'm going to do it about the same as I did the other one. We're going to go into this open. First, I'm going to check to make sure I don't have any other color on there. So then I'm just going to pick up my color from inside this area, this white area. And just go in there. And then around. And you're going to see that it's very light. Don't forget, you can always add color, but it's harder to take the color away once you add that color on there. And I recommend doing the areas that you want darker and then go into the lighter areas. So what I'm doing is I'm doing where I feel there's going to be some shadows, and then you can just brush it out. Okay, very light. These are a soft watercolor. This is an easy way to learn watercoloring if you are not used to watercoloring, is by using these blending pens. This is the first actually way that I learned to watercolor with inks, even though, you know, I've told you before, I used to paint and do woodworking. So I am a painter, and then I'm just going to go down the center there, just so it's a little bit light color. Now we're going to do his face. And so I am more, I am really used to using paintbrushes rather than the blender pen for watercoloring. But I like teaching everyone how to use the different products. And you need to find out what's right for you. Some people don't like to watercolor, but they tell me that they don't mind it so much with the blending pen, because this blender pen actually makes all your ink pads into markers. Okay, so just this one marker, you've got all our colors in a marker. So now what I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm looking at where I want a little bit more shadowing. Right in here. And I am just dabbing my blender. I'm just doing like little dots. I'm not coloring because I don't want my paper to pill up. Okay, I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to go into my Pretty in Pink. Now remember, I told you I'm using the same colors. I'm not picking any more colors. I could have used just 3 colors if I wanted to, but I wanted to do them all just a little bit different. Use whatever color you have. I'm making a little bit of cheeks. You know, I love cheeks on my animals. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my Poppy Parade, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of color for this flower, and I'm just putting it on the very tip of this pen because this is a very small area to color. Okay, and then I'm going to start dabbing his little scarf. What do you call those? Was it ascots or something like that? I remember growing up in the 70s with leisure suits and those little ascots that the guys would wear around their neck. Okay, so that, I'm going to clean it off a little bit and just add a little bit of that color into its ear. I wiped it too much. Just bring a little bit of pink in there. Okay, that's that one. So simple, a simple card. Okay, so then let's go to our next and final card. Now this one is going to have a layer, a little bit more coloring. I wanted to do one that you could, you know, a step up. We're going to add a little bit of ribbon to it, but it's basically going to be a simple card. So we have this a basic white, and I have my 2 1/4 inch skull punch. So I'm going to punch that out and put that in there and just punch that circle out. Okay, I also have our 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and I am going to punch out that in pretty in pink. We're going to layer those two up. So this card's going to have a little bit of dimension. This one is going to be a baby card. So let me get all my stuff for that. So we are going to do our welcome little one, and we are going to be using smoky slate for that. And we are just going to ink that up, make sure that, oh, you know, I just inked up my ink pads, and some of them were so dry. In fact, this one is a little dry, so let me get some more smoky slate ink. It just seems like my pads absorbed all that color. So if you want to learn how to re-ink your pad, I just squirt some ink. I only do it in the center because that's usually where you ink up your stamps, and it will go to the outer edge. And I think that's why this one dried up, is because it was pretty dry when I went and inked it. So if you want to move that ink around a little bit with your stamp, do a test. There we go. And let's stamp this on here. The welcome little one. That's it for that. So I have a piece of scrap paper, basic white. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our bunny, our Mrs. Bunny here. And let's get her stamped up. Okay, here are how it kind of tacks. Now, if you have the bundle, you could cut this out with the coordinating die. We're going to fussy cut it today. First, I like to color it. So this one, it's going to be a baby card. It's going to be for a little girl. And I am going to be using a smoky slate, and pretty in pink are my colors for this one. So I am going to start with my pretty in pink. I like to start with my lighter colors first. So we're just going to pick up some color. So go into that ink and then make our white spot in the center. Okay, and we're going to color her dress. So we're going to do those lines, and wherever we want it darker first, and perhaps around the bottom edge, and back here where there's going to be shadow. Now all her color and her band on her sleeve are all going to be white. Okay, we're going to do inside her ear. Once again, doing that dark area first. Okay, now that's dried a little bit, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my color and I'm just going to lightly brush that color on here. Okay, and then I can pick up some more color and do those darker areas. I like to dab rather than rub using my blender pen because my paper doesn't pill up as much. So that's a little tip for you when using this. If you find that your paper pills a lot on you. Okay, so we're going to come back to pretty in pink after we're done with our smoky slate. Now, smoky slate is a darker color, and I want her very, very light. So I am going to make that white pool in the middle, and then I'm going to wipe off the color. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and get my color. And then once again, start with those darker areas. Just dabbing it on there. Wherever I want it darker. Right in there. And then this ear is going to be darker right around where that other ear kind of shadows it. And bottom of her mouth there and around here. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up very light and fill in those areas. I forgot her arms, but that's because I don't want them real dark. The one in the back I do want a little bit darker, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more ink and just dab. That is my secret to teaching how to use the blender pens. Here, people have a tendency of wanting to scrub it, and then your paper starts pilling. Now, it doesn't pill as much if you use watercolor paper. Okay, but when you use cardstock, it absorbs the ink and it just seems to pill a little bit more. So if you find that your images are pilling, let's clean that off real good. Remember, dab. Okay, we're going to do her pink nose there. Now, I did pink last, the pretty in pink last after I colored her because I didn't want to cover it up. I want this color to stand out a little bit more. And now your dress is dried a little bit, so you can see where maybe perhaps you want a little bit darker. And just take those areas and dab a little bit of darkness in there. Okay, and she is done. Okay, so I'm going to grab my paper snips and let's cut that out. So I'm going to trim this here. And remember, trim your paper. You don't have to trim real close. You know, you can always cut out your images. Remember the days where this is all we had? We fussy cut everything. We didn't have all those dies like we've got today. Now, I know many of you don't like to fussy cut. I find it very relaxing. And these little images, you guys, these little characters are so much fun. I just love them. I'm going to be making some Easter cards this year using this stamp set. And I am probably going to make some egg holders, just like I told you. And I'm probably going to use them for display. So perhaps that's what I will do for next week's live. We'll use the same stamp set and we will make some egg holders. Now, I want to make her back leg there a little bit darker. I think that it's a little bit light. I use the same side. I try to use the same side and then go use the other side when this one starts to dry up. Seems that these last forever though, as long as you keep them closed up. I'm just going to dab her a little bit. There we go. Making sure that you clean it before you put that lid back on. Okay, so we are ready to finish our card. So I have some ribbon here. So I'm going to take this and cut. We'll do about 6 inches. And I am going to take my stamp and seal along the back of this. I think that this will be long enough. Well, I guess I didn't have to, I should have done it a little bit longer, but I think this will be okay. So I want this along this edge. So I'm just going to add stamp and seal along this edge. And I want it to be from the top and the bottom on the one side. So there we go. Then I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals and we're going to add some of those to this. I put a couple over the ribbon and then all around. Let's put one in the middle there. And it's sticking to my finger. Let's get my take your pick tool. So, been so excited. Our weather's turning nicer, and we actually had thunderstorms last night. It's kind of weird. You know, it's still March, but in March around here, we get all kinds of weather. And we're supposed to have possible snow tonight. So it is what it is, and we just deal with it. So I'm just trimming these off, just like that. Let's just stick this on here. We're going to put the welcome little one right on top. Centering that just like that. Then we're going to take our little bunny, and she's just going to go right here. And I can just add some adhesive along the one edge. I get my silicone mat out. So I'm just going to put it along the front of her because her little bum is probably going to go off the edge here. Just put her here. And that simple little card right there. So the first two cards were quite simple. Two different ways. We colored around it here, colored on the inside there, and on this one we added a little bit to it. So as you can see, using our note cards and envelopes helps creating cards quick and easy, and using one stamp set that has images and sentiments, you can make a variety of cards. Until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping!